Hey there, Angela Mosley here with Modern Fit Moms. Thank you guys so much for coming back. In today's video, I'm going to answer the question, can you burn fat while restoring prolapse and eliminating leaks? And the answer is yes, you can. In today's video, I'm going to share with you 6 tips, 6 foundational things, habits, things that you can do to promote more healthy pelvic floor, but also to help with fat loss. So first, let's discuss the difference between weight loss versus fat loss. My methodology is geared more towards fat loss than it is weight loss. Weight loss, you're going to see a bigger number and a quicker number in the scale change versus fat loss. And the reason is because with weight loss, you're primarily just focusing on losing weight, right? Your deficit in your calories is going to be more. You're probably going to focus more on cardio because your main goal is just to lose weight. If you are someone who has a lot of weight that you want to lose in a specific amount of time, then you're probably going to lean more towards weight loss. Whereas my methodology is geared towards more fat loss, and we do a combination of a calorie deficit through your nutrition, but also through your movement, but then also focusing on building lean muscle. And so that's where fat loss comes into play, right? So you're going to lose weight with fat loss, but we're also working towards building lean muscle. And with fat loss, it's more of like a body recomposition, whereas weight loss, the main goal is just to lose weight within a certain period of time. Now, I'm not saying that I wouldn't work with someone that wanted to lose weight, obviously, because you're going to lose weight with fat loss, but my methodology when it comes to prolapse and leaking healing is strength training, which I'm going to get to in just a sec. I also just want to say that it's a lot easier to burn fat than it is to build muscle. So combining fat burning with a calories deficit, deficit through movement and strength training is going to give you more bang for your buck in the long term, in my opinion, in my education and working with women, than primarily focusing on weight loss. So I just want to make you aware that that's what today's video is more about, is fat loss. So you might see a slower drop in the scale with weight loss, but you're going to see more body composition with fat loss than you would with weight loss. Weight loss, again, is primarily just the drop in the scale. So just know that there is a difference, and depending on which one you want will determine which plan of action you take. Okay. All right, so let's get into the 6 tips. So tip number 1, of course, is strength training. So when you mash up strength training with good breathing, with good alignment, pelvic floor awareness, pelvic floor connection, it is more effective than doing isolated Kegels alone. And when I say strength training, I mean actually picking up the weights. All right, so yes, you might start with body weight movement, but eventually I want you to progress and lift heavier and heavier weights. And so this is going to look different for everyone. Somebody might start with body weight squats. Somebody might start with a 50-pound kettlebell for squats. You know, it really varies from person to person. But when we focus and prioritize strength training, not only does it help the pelvic floor get stronger, and we do it with good alignment, we do it with good breathing, we do it with good connection, we also build lean muscle. And when we build lean muscle, muscle is more metabolically active than fat. And so when we have more muscle in our body burns more calories just to sustain the muscle. So we need more calories to make sure to maintain that muscle mass. And so that's why we work towards building lean muscle, because then in turn, we're burning fat while building lean muscle. We're still having that slight deficit in our calories, but we're working on building lean muscle. So prioritizing strength training is a key success, both with fat loss, but also with pelvic floor healing. So when working with women, I have them training, strength training, a minimum of 3 days per week. Now, this might look like, 3 days of full body training circuits, or this might look like an upper body versus a lower body split with a full body workout. So it's going to range and vary from person to person and what you have available, or how much time you have available. And so prioritizing strength training, like I said, is going to be more effective as long as you know how, with the right breathing, the right cueing, the right alignment, than isolated Kegels. And it's going to be more beneficial for fat loss because, like I said, the more muscle we have on our body, the more metabolic active we are, and the more calories we burn overall. So number 1, start prioritizing strength training, even if that means body weight right now, while you're starting to learn body movements and patterns and things like that, especially if you just got your diagnosis with prolapse or if you have some leaking. We want to start slower at first, lighter at first, and then you can progress from there. Number 2 is incorporating high intensity interval training. Now, I know many of you are probably like, Angela, you're crazy because my pelvic floor does not like when I jump or add impact into my routine, which I totally understand. So we're going to work towards it. So we're going to work towards getting that HIIT training into our programming. So for those of you that have no problem with it, ideally you want to add in about 1 to 2 sessions per week of high intensity training where you're getting that heart rate up, you are not lacking oxygen, but you're getting out of breath easily, right? So this is high intensity, right? You're going as hard as you can, as fast as you can, trying to get yourself to that point of, I don't want to say complete exhaustion but you need to take a break. And so this increases fat burning ability. And so when we have that high intensity, it creates that EPOC. So it's that post workout calorie burn that we're going for. And our high intensity interval training is going to look different for every single person and every different level. And so adding in 1 to 2 sessions per week will help to accelerate your fat loss goals. But if you are someone who, as soon as you start jumping, as soon as you start doing any kind of high intensity movement, and you don't have to jump to have high intensity, right? You can use dumbbells. You can strength train with higher intensity by doing more reps, going a lot faster, and lower weight. And so I do this a lot with my in-person group training where we don't do any kind of jumping. I will do jumping occasionally, but we'll add in more intensity power moves like a kettlebell swing or a snatch, right? We're not jumping, but we're increasing the heart rate. We're increasing the power. We're increasing getting ourselves out of breath, and that's increasing that HIIT style training that we're aiming for when it comes to fat loss. So, but if you are someone who's like, Ange, I can't do that, then you want to opt for lower impact, or you can think about increasing your NEAT. So we're going to work our way up to it. So if you're like, I love HIIT classes, but I hate modifying because I don't feel like I'm getting anything out of it. I totally understand. I completely know where you're coming from because I was there and today I have no issues at all. I want the same thing for you. So you're going to slowly but surely add impact into your routine. That might look like doing one exercise at the beginning of your workout as part of, or at the end of your warm up before you go into your full workout, increasing that heart rate and increasing that movement gently with powers such as kettlebell swings or those snatches and things like that, or a squat to an overhead press. So increasing your power intensity through that way, as long as your pelvic floor can handle it. If that's still an issue, then you want to focus on increasing your NEAT, right? So our NEAT, non-exercise activity, is going to actually account for more calories burned throughout our day than exercise itself. So if you like, I can't do high intensity training right now, that's okay. Opt for more movement throughout your day. That might look like 20 minutes of a walk in the morning and 20 minutes for a walk at night, or that might just be 20 minutes altogether. Any movement increase that you can make is going to help burn more calories, right? So if you have no movement whatsoever today, then just by increasing 5 minutes of movement, that's going to increase 5 minutes more of burning more calories or burning more energy. So think about different ways that you can increase your NEAT or add in 1 to 2 of your high intensity training sessions. Okay, number 3, we've all heard it. Prioritize your protein. I mean, I can say this until I'm blue in my face, but I have to recognize that not everybody realizes this, and I'm going to explain why. So we need protein for muscle. Like, what do you think muscle is made out of, right? We already know that having more muscle in our body is going to increase our metabolic rate, is going to increase our burn, our efficiency of burning more calories. And so we want more muscle in our body, but if we're not fueling our body with protein, then we're not fueling our muscles. And so our muscles can then take a hit. So we need protein to increase muscles, to increase muscle mass. And we also need protein for fat loss. And so we need protein to rebuild tissue. We need protein for a healthy immune system. And so I like to think of it as that we want to use protein, I don't want to say as the base, but yes, as the base. You should have a source of protein at every single meal. So if you eat 4 meals a day, you're going to have 4 servings of protein. And so protein is one of the highest macronutrients that has the highest thermogenic effect of food, meaning that you burn more calories just to consume protein. So your body burns up to 25% of the calories just to digest that protein in and of itself. Not only that, but protein helps you to feel full longer, and it helps to build that lean muscle. If we don't have adequate amounts of protein in it, then we're not able to build protein in our body, or we're not able to build muscle in our body. Muscle is protein. Just like if you think about it, my husband's a hunter, so we eat venison, right? And so all of it is muscle. We're eating muscle, the muscle of the venison, and that is our protein source. I like to tell clients to aim for about 0.8 to 1 gram per 1 pound body weight. So for me, I'm 130 pounds. So my goal is 130 grams of protein every single day. And so what I try to do is I try to eat about 30 grams of protein at each meal. Now I'll eat anywhere from 4 to 5 meals, but my main goal is just always that I have a source of protein. So I literally have my protein as my main thing, and then I add on to it. I add my fats, I add my carbs and things like that to help make it a balanced meal. So start at 0.8, calculate your weight. You can also do, if you do have your fat loss goal, whatever weight you want to be. So say you're 160 pounds right now and you want to weigh 140, then I would aim for anywhere from, the 0.8 to 1 of the 140 rather than the 160. Play around with it, see what works. The idea is that the more protein you eat, then you're going to feel fuller longer. So you're not going to be going for those treats and things like that. You're not going to have as many cravings as long as you're prioritizing the protein at each and every meal. Okay, number 4 is fiber. Fiber-filled carbs. So a lot of people think that carbs are the enemy, and I'm not gonna lie, I love carbs. Carbs are my best friend. Not really, but you get it. So carbs and protein, one of the things that I really do focus on, especially when it comes to my workouts. So when it comes to a strength training workout, you do want to make sure that you are properly fueled, because we need carbohydrates to fuel our strength training workouts, meaning that we use the carbohydrates for fuel for our workouts. We don't use protein. Protein is going to be the last source, and we don't necessarily use fat, but we will tap into fat, which I'm going to explain to you in just a sec. So if we're not properly fueled before our strength training workouts, our body can take energy from our muscles. And so this is why it's really important to make sure that you are properly fueled before a strength training workout. So number 1, it's going to help you perform better, right? So if you have the right amount of energy in your system to perform or to go to your workout, you're going to feel better in general. You're going to have the energy. You're not going to feel more fatigued, and you're going to be able to show up better, which means in the long run, you're going to burn more calories. Because if you didn't have the fuel in your system, you're probably going to be sluggish. Your workout is going to be hard, and you're not going to push yourself as much as you would if you had the energy in your system. And so if the goal is fat loss, then we want to make sure that we're properly fueled, right? Because we want to show up to our workouts. We want to build lean muscle. And one way to do that is making sure that we're properly fueled. Like I said, if you're not properly fueled and you don't have anything in your system, then your body could take from your already built protein as fuel. And we do not want that. Now, I hear it a lot that some women are like, but Angela, I'm getting up so early in the morning to work out. I'm not hungry. I don't want to eat before my workout. So my answer to you is that make sure that you have a good balanced meal the night before to make sure that you have fuel in your system, right? Because we want to make sure that we do have something in our system, and that's perfectly fine too, especially like if you're working out at like 5 o'clock in the morning. I teach a class at 5 o'clock in the morning. I make sure I have a good dinner the night before, protein, carbs, and fats combined together. So when it comes to carbohydrates, why is this important for prolapse healing and leaking is that we want to make sure we have healthy poos, right? When we have fiber-filled carbs, women should have up to 25 grams of fiber per day. Now, this is going to be different for every single person. I had a whole nother video on constipation and fiber and all the things, so I'll link it down below. Make sure you check it out. But we want to make sure that we have good gut health. We want to make sure that we have good digestion, and we want to make sure that we are moving our bowels, because we actually eliminate energy with our bowels. So any nutrients that our body does not absorb, we eliminate it through our bowel movements. But if we're not having regular bowel movements, that can stay inside our body. That can create more prolapse symptoms. That can create more tension in the pelvic floor through constipation. And so we really want to make sure that we are prioritizing fiber, because that is so important to help the body eliminate nutrients that our body is not using, and also to help detox the body. So happy gut, happy, healthy pelvic floor. We want to make sure that we are prioritizing it, not only for our strength training workouts to fuel them, to make sure that you have the energy to show up and burn more calories from your workout, but also for pelvic floor stance, because we want to make sure that we are having regular, consistent bowel movements. Okay, number 5, make sure you're drinking enough water. Now, I know many of you who are experiencing leaking, you're probably stopping or pulling back on the water intake because the more water you drink, the more you have to pee. And I understand that, but not drinking enough water can actually make your pelvic floor symptoms worse. Because if you're not drinking enough water, you're not hydrating enough, this can actually irritate the bladder, which can irritate the pelvic floor. And so I want you to actually increase your water take, even if you are working through leaking right now. Water is our body's way of eliminating toxins from the body, just like our stools. And if we don't have a hydrated system, we've increased our fiber intake, but we didn't increase our water, then all of this stool in our system is going to harden up, and then it's not going to feel good in our pelvic floor. So we need to make sure, especially when we're increasing our fiber intake, that we are also increasing our water intake. Now, at first you might seem like you're going to the bathroom a lot more. This is where tracking your bladder habits is going to be really important. But I want you to stay in the game, right? So about half your body weight of water in your system every single day. I want you to aim for that. One thing I love to challenge my clients with is to aim for 0-calorie drinks. Think about all the drinks that you drink all throughout the day. Then this doesn't mean I still want you to have your coffee, right? But think about other drinks. Like, I personally don't drink much other than my bone broth and my mushroom coffee, my nighttime tea, and then I have like another hydration drink that I have. But I don't drink juice. I don't drink soda. I don't drink alcohol. I literally just drink water and add things to it. So I want to challenge you to do 0-calorie drinks. See how it does for 1 week. Just see what can happen, because this will actually promote more fat loss in the end as well. Because if you think about it, calories, those drinks add up. When you go to Starbucks, that drink is going to add up in calories. When we focus on water, we eliminate the calories that we're consuming through some of the drinks that we normally drink, but then we're also hydrating our body, we're hydrating our tissues, we are helping our pelvic floor, we're helping our bowels and all the things. So this is why number 5 is very important, is hydrating your body and increasing your water intake to support good bowel health, to support cleansing the body, and even to support your bladder health. Okay, our final one is number 6, sleep hygiene and stress. Wow, I don't know if that was really weird. Sleep hygiene and stress. So we want to make sure that we are getting enough recovery in our bodies and we're getting enough sleep. Both of them go hand in hand with lifting weights and with restoring pelvic floor function. Stress can be one of the number causes of and fat loss, or a stall in fat loss, but it can also be one of the biggest issues when it comes to pelvic floor healing. If you're stressed out, then your pelvic floor healing is going to stall because you have all this compression. Just like if you think about it, we hold tension in our jaw or we hold tension in our shoulders. We unintentionally will hold tension in our pelvic floor when we're stressed out. And why this matters to sleep is because sleep is when our body recovers. It's when tissue is rebuilt. It's when our body is allowing it to kind of rebuild itself at night. And if we're stressed out, our sleep probably is not going to be great. So your goal is to aim for anywhere from 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Not only that, but when we're stressed out, this increases cortisol. When we have a spike in cortisol, and we have that steady state of cortisol through our system day in and day out, this shuts down all other non-essential functions in our body, which means if your goal is fat loss, but you're extremely stressed out, your body is going to hold on to that fat because it's like kind of in survival mode and it's shutting down everything else because you are stressed out. So stress goes hand in hand with your pelvic floor and with your fat loss. So stress, we want to make sure that we are getting adequate amount of sleep. And so I know this can be a very big challenge, especially if you're stressed and you have high anxiety. There's lots of things on your plate, lots of to-do lists, but I want you to try to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Maybe you track to see how much you're currently getting, and maybe you add in 30 minutes to that. Go to bed 30 minutes earlier, or wake up 30 minutes later, depending on what you're able to do. But I really do want you to aim for 7 to 8 hours of sleep because this is going to impact your fat loss way more than you might think. Because when we're tired, we're fatigued, we're more stressed out, we're more angry, we end up craving more foods because we're not allowing our hormones to regulate, which is another important thing that happens during our sleep, which is also important for our pelvic floor. And so we want to make sure that we are prioritizing our sleep. So what I would suggest for you is creating a bedtime routine. So for me, that looks like if I wore makeup for the day, take my makeup off. I wash my face, and then I do my red light therapy mask. Sometimes I'll do legs up the wall. I'll read a book. I'll read my kids their bedtime stories. I'll do prayers with them. My husband and I will talk. I might look at the day tomorrow, but find a bedtime routine that works for you. One of the things I do want to say is reducing technology, and give your technology a bedtime, because blue light from our cell phones, from our computers, and our TVs actually reduces melatonin production. And when you reduce melatonin production, you don't sleep as well. So doing activities that are going to promote more melatonin production, like taking a hot shower an hour before bed, is going to increase your temperature, and then allowing it to drop your temperature, which is going to support melatonin production. There are a couple supplements that I do use that I'll make sure to post down below as well. But finding a bedtime routine is extremely important to get yourself to get to bed on time, but also to promote better sleep, which is in turn going to help with pelvic floor healing and fat loss. Okay, well, those are the 6 tips that I have for you. I know that's a lot, so pick one and start with one. Whichever one is going to be the hardest for you, I would say start with that one. So for example, if sleep is the hardest, then I would start with your sleep hygiene. I would work on reorganizing your bedtime routine and getting yourself to bed earlier. Like I said, I'll make sure to share some supplements that I personally use. Please note that I'm not telling you to use this. This is just what I personally use for my bedtime routine. Now, if you are someone who is like, I need more help with this, please help me, and I'm here to help. Send me a message on Instagram, Modern Fit Moms, or find me on Facebook, Angela Mosley, and we can certainly have a chat. Please note that working through prolapse healing and pelvic floor goes beyond just the things that I shared in today's video. Same with fat loss and reaching your goals. If you are interested, make sure you check out the All Access membership, where I literally take you into my core lift program. You start weightlifting right away, which is a key to fat loss. And then by the end of the program, we do get you to those HIIT workouts, which is also going to amplify your fat loss results. Make sure to like this video and make sure you subscribe, as I post a new video every single week. And if there's anything you'd love to see me cover next, make sure to comment down below or send me a message.